What's happening, party people? I am in Lincoln, Nebraska. Got here to help a family friend with their BMW E30. It's an 88 model 325i convertible. Man, we're hostage, waiting on parts 2 full days now. We made the order on FCP. They normally ship stuff right out. I don't know if there was something in the order that wasn't in supply, but they held most of the parts that was ordered. I want to say 5, almost 6 days before they shipped them out. So I got here expecting that stuff to be here, and it's not here yet. So hopefully it's out on UPS shipment truck to be delivered. It'll be delivered within the next hour. I could get to work. Lost 2 days here and only have 4 more days I could be here. Got to get home, get Mita on a flight to go home, check on her mom, stuff like that. So besides that, if you are in the Lincoln, Nebraska area and you want to have a meet and greet, you want to have a meal together, you want me to check some things out on your ride, I am here. I can probably do that, barring something strange going on with this BMW. It'll be early or later in the day. Won't be through the middle of the day because I'll likely be working. We found a glitch on the website that was charging people like $4 and some odd cents just to ship a sticker. So if you went online to get one of these stickers and seen that high shipping cost, I think I have that corrected. I didn't know how to do it, but Elizabeth went on there and corrected that for me. The people that did order one, I will be refunded most of your shipping. The cost of postage in the envelope is probably around 75 cents. So if you paid $4.50 for shipping, expect to be refunded about $3 and whatever it'll shake out to. I still have these stickers on there like this. This one goes to the moon. I got them from, I went down to 100,000. I don't know why I did that. I don't feel like high mileage is 100,000 anymore. It's at least 200,000. If you got less than 200,000 miles on a car, man, it's just low mileage. And I did make a 100,000 mile sticker, but if you want these stickers, put them on your car, put them on your toolbox, something like that. They are available. These I don't have any price on. You just throw them in your shopping cart if you buy something from me, or you can go to my website and order them. And again, if the shipping is more than 75 cents or something like that, I'll refund whatever shipping it charged in excess. And these are available in this size and bumper sticker size, so on my website. Other than that, we are trying to get some stuff done. Again, estimates are kind of crazy. We stopped through Ames, Iowa to help a guy with his V70R. He had a Saffron V70R that he got from Dan, the dog man. Pretty nice car, little or no rust, but man, he had some people do some work on that car, and it's a shame the stuff that they left loose. A crying shame. People not doing stuff right. I was able to get a lot done. If I had to run an estimate, I probably did about $3,000 worth of work in one afternoon. Cost them under $1,000. So, on estimates, again, I'm not good at giving them because I get there and we end up doing more than we expected, running the problems, running cost up. But get an estimate from a dealer or an independent shop, and I'll always beat those prices. So I hope that makes sense. And if you need help because you're in a financial bind, let me know. We'll still try to swing by and help you on a urgent need basis. I won't be painting your car and polishing your wheels for free, but if you need me to come by, get your car running so you can get back forth to work, stuff like that, and you don't have 72 cars on your property, a helicopter, and 3 tractors, man, I'll be glad to help you as best I can on a helper tour style basis. So here in a couple of days, we'll be headed back home. Mita's going to get on a plane. I'm going to be taking care of things around Cincinnati until she comes back. Then we'll be headed out east. If you have a heated garage or some way to heat an area to work on your car, I already got people lined up, but if you got an urgent need, let me know. If you don't have an urgent need, we can schedule you for the spring. And then we'll be taking care of a couple things out east of people that's been waiting, steering racks leaking like crazy, stuff like that. And then we'll be headed west. I do have maybe one manual swap kit available left. I got some parts out west I need to pick up not far from Sacramento. And hey, I got a guy that's got, I think he said 30,000 miles on his 850, and he's having transmission issues, either a PMP switch or the transmission's acting up. A car that's driven that little, it could be anything. So he's inquiring about a transmission swap. Now, if I have a kit available and nobody has put a deposit on it, there's a guy that put a deposit on one back in, I think, early May, and we was able to get him his manual swap parts in a couple days ago, delivered to him. So it's possible that, man, these manual swap part supplies are drying up. If you are aware of an 850 that's a manual that's up for sale, or it's in a salvage yard or something like that, and you don't have any claims or desires to have those parts or do a manual conversion or something like that, please let me know. I need to get a hold of that stuff and be able to pass that on to somebody that's planning on doing a manual swap that needs those parts. Shift cables are really hard to find. The shifter boot and handle assembly is extremely hard to find. And just pedal assemblies for the 850s. You know, it doesn't matter to me if it's an V70 or 850. The 850 parts are harder to find and very desired. And man, you know, I hate to see that stuff get crushed. So if you know of any of that stuff, let me know. I'll do my best to get a hold to it so that I can pass it on to the people that are contacting me for those parts. I guess that's about it. I need to wrap this up. Parts should be here soon. Need to get on the move, have my lunch, and hopefully get a lot done on this vehicle that I'm trying to do a stage zero and some restoration work done on. So hope you all enjoyed today's video. I was continually doing the manual conversion on the 850 Turbo up in the Chicago area. Met a guy that I'm, I guess, a customer that lives in that Elgin area up there that has a V70R that the fuel pump died in. We tried to implant a pump into the sending unit assembly. That didn't work, and I wrapped up pretty much the work on that 850 manual swap. So hope you enjoyed this week's video. Hope you have a great weekend. Be safe, live in your purpose, and have a great day. Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert, that's me. This video contains things that I encounter throughout the day. If for some reason I complete a task and you would like to see the details, you can click on the link in the description area below. This video also contains tips and tricks that I learned throughout the years. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. Thank you very much for watching. Okay, folks, we are back. Man, I don't even know where we're at here. Getting back later than I expected. I think the last thing I did, well, let me check the last video clip, see what I was going to do next, and I'll start there. And then we'll just keep moving forward. Next up is pulling this strut, rebuilding that, putting it back in. We'll go from there. Yes, sir, that noise you were hearing is your strut mount being totally torn out. Ain't pushing out as easy as I thought it was, but here it is. That's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be connected to the rubber like this. So here's a new one. That's a bad old one. Yep, we're going to replace that. And this bump stop stops the banging from the strut if it for some reason bottoms out. And I'm going to pull that strut in and out to see if it has any life left in it. Hard to tell if you don't drive the car. I should have drove the car before I dug into it. The shock seems like it's in good shape, even though it looks old. I noticed it had some tape of some sort up there. And so does this other one over here. So this shock has been replaced at some point. The bump stop is there, but it was rotted away. The spring seems good. I don't see any paint on it, nowhere, so I don't think it's a Volvo spring. But hey, there's some numbers here. Somebody probably replaced the spring sometime ago as well. Let's go ahead and get this back in and do the brakes on that side. We got a new rotor, new brake pads, got the strut rebuilt over here, got a new control arm over there. We're gonna go do the other side. Got a caliper replaced. How about that? I'm gonna work on getting the one on the other side replaced, and then we'll move on to the next task. So we got the brake job, caliper, and control arm done up front there. And we're just moving around. Take a little break, check my messages, and get back to work. Got the calipers on both sides. Had to heat those things up pretty bad. Get those lines out. But we got them done, got the new pads in. These are Bosch pads. They got a lot of hardware in the kit. Look like enough to do like 62 brake jobs. And the calipers came with the hardware, so I used the hardware that came with the calipers. But those pads, man, they look thin. Thinner than normal pads on these cars. I'm starting to think that meat's a little thin, but we'll see when we put those rotors on. And we'll get the e-brake cables in tomorrow. That's what we're waiting on to finish that. So let me look around, see what else I got to do, and keep moving. I'm starting to think this car might have had some paint work done on it. Somebody's definitely messed with these fender skirts. It's eating up there, and they're cut up here, and there's some eating away here, but somebody somehow riveted this up here. This is not supposed to be like that. I've seen worse fender skirts, but I brought a couple anyway because I don't like them being open like that. Let me look at the ones I got and make sure it's worth replacing these things. I'm going to make a quick video letting you know that if you have an 850 that you're redoing the e-brakes on, get this TRW kit if you're trying to get these parts here. The Pro Part Sweeting kit, those parts are not proper. They don't fit right. So get the TRW kit, not this kit. Kicking off the day in Chi-Town. Gotta stop by Walmart, get me the heater, then get to work. Kicked off the Tinker Day. Decided to do these heater hoses. I pulled the hose loose from the side of the engine and it jerked. When it did, it snapped it loose from the firewall junction. Man, that's kind of tough. No way that firewall junction was going to make it. And I ordered the firewall junction and the pipes going to the heater core as well, because this car is an early 95 and those pipes coming from the firewall junction down to the heater core are steel instead of aluminum. If you got the aluminum ones, you don't need that. If you have the steel ones, I would normally recommend removing those steel pipes just to make it all aluminum lifetime part. So get ready to take that firewall junction thing loose, go inside, get a trash bag and take that loose from the inside so we can expedite getting that done. Next thing I'm gonna do is clean these 3 pipes off where these hoses connect. When I get the new hoses, it's supposed to be overnighted here tomorrow. I'll connect those in and be done with that. And then I'm gonna hook up this bracket system for these cables and hook these cables up. Then I'm gonna hook up this hydraulic line to the clutch system and the internal slave and go ahead and bleed the brake system of this old fluid. Okay, we got the heater core and line stuff out. We're going to move on to the next task at hand. After 3 full days of charging, this thing is up to 5% health. It says replace. I'm not sure how this car will start with 150 cold cranking amps, but man, that's crazy. I got this torn up, I guess, fender well liner off. When these things are on right, it helps prevent rust, but somebody drilled some holes in the top of this fender and those rivets were rusting, and now it's starting to rust the fender, and there's a little rust there. That probably needs to be treated before this goes back on with another one. Then you got some rust there. You just good to have these in shape, especially if you're in the rust belt, to prevent rust from building up in these places. There was a lot of dirt built up in this mud flap. You also don't want that going on. All right, let me get the other one off. There's a lot of dirt still in here, and this is the dirt that's building up in that. It's got holes in it, so you should make sure that that's cleared out. All right, let's move to the other side. Could not get the fender well skirt off the other side because of the type of rivets that was used. So I'm going to raise this engine up about 1 inch and try to get that subframe installed. I was sitting here doing a little work, and Mita spotted a rubbish person way up the alleyway. Somebody had a truck up there, almost where you seen that car just flash by. There's a basketball goal there. Right up by that basketball goal, loading the truck. So I said, man, when they come down here, stop them. They could take these control arms and old rotors and that transmission. And they pulled down. We almost missed her. I yelled at the vehicle. It stopped. A lady came out, hustling her butt off. She took that transmission, all these rotors, control arms, everything. Took all our scrap metal. I'm so grateful. But, you know, I feel some kind of way that guys be sitting around and this lady is running her own rubbish truck, picking up metal through the neighborhood. So, no excuse for not getting to work. Let me get back to work. Had the oil cooler lines removed and a block-off plate installed. Got the radiator out. The radiator was leaking, had a minor leak in it. So we got that out, getting ready to replace it with a Cryomax. I hadn't seen Cryomax for a while, and I almost thought that there was no more available. I kind of liked them back 10 years ago. And now I found out that Alex has a bunch of those things. The problem with them is they're made for the NA cars with a automatic transmission. However, if you delete your oil cooler lines, they work just fine, which what we're doing, and we're deleting the transmission cooler lines. So this is going to work perfect for us. It had a Nissan's radiator in it. Not sure how old it is, but you can see where it's leaking there. One other spot it was leaking at, so we're getting that replaced. Got a brake booster hose hooked up. We got the largest hose the auto parts store had, and it wasn't big enough to fit on those fittings. So I attached it with some silicone, got that secure. Not perfect, so I'll probably get some hose the proper size and replace that as soon as I can find some. Then I got the hydraulic line hooked up to the transmission. I got the PMP switch wire and harness prepared to go together. I cut that speed sensor off. I gotta connect those wires to ABS wires. Not sure where I'm going to do that at. That ABS stuff comes up here to this big wire harness and goes in there. So I got to decide how I'm going to deal with that, because I got to basically piggyback off of the wires that go to the sensor down here so I could get the speed sensor for the cruise control and stuff like that to work, because this transmission doesn't have the same speed sensor setup that the other one had. And I was looking for a speed sensor plug on this, and I don't see one. Some of these cars have a speed sensor plug, some of these transmissions, and I guess this manual one doesn't have one. So it probably gets this information from the ABS module, which this car doesn't have that type of module. It has this computer system here. So let me figure out what I'm gonna do with that wiring for my speed sensor signal. And in the meantime, I got my overnight package in for my e-brake cables. So I'm going to hook those up. Back at it, kicking off a Tinker Day. We're going to start off finishing up these e-brake cables. I got these installed. For some reason, this rotor was kind of loose. So I put it on like that to snug it up. Getting ready to secure the brake cables to the Delta links. And the clamps that hold that cable against there are always busted up. And hard to get that off of there. So these are probably, I guess, 12 to 15 millimeter. You can't find those. They go from 6 to 10 to 19 cable clamps. So I'm going to use these 19s. I might wrap something around it like a vacuum line or something. Hold that in place against the Delta link. But I'm going to try to special order some 15 millimeters. See how they hold up. But I got that other screw in there. And let's keep it going. I got it run up under the carpet there. Got those cables locked in. You know, these are different from different vehicles. And I actually forgot these and had to contact my daughter, and she sent them to me. This bracket that locks these cables in position. If you have the wrong ones, your shifter will probably not be centered correctly. Maybe more to one side or another. So, got that done. Time to splice in some wiring. Now I need to take these speed sensor wires, figure out what I did with those. Right here, they were plugged into the speed sensor on the back of the automatic transmission. And I want to wire those into this speed sensor on this wheel, ABS system. So I want to identify these two wires. I want to follow them up to the harness. I don't want to tap into them here because I don't want them to be exposed to corrosion. I want to protect them. So let me follow this wire up and see where it comes in. Probably in this harness here. I've seen them in this harness here. It's going to be a pain in the butt, but I'd rather put them to the harness up here than down there at the wheel. On the 95, these wires, man, they're not coming out of these ABS rubber protectors until they're all the way up into this plug. So I'm pretty sure that these are the wires here. This white one's probably driver. This one's probably passenger. It doesn't matter which one you tap into, but I don't want to try to open up this wire anywhere else. So I'm going to tap into it up here and run the wires out of there. Now the rear ones, I think this yellow with lavender and yellow with black is a rear one, but I also see a couple sets of greens that are wound. Green here with a white line and a green here with a black line. And there's another set of greens that's wound. Green with a red and green with a yellow. So anyway, I'm going to tap into this one here and hopefully that'll give me my speed sensor. So let me go ahead and wire that up. Tuck it out of the way so that it's not in the way of getting damaged by anything. So I tapped into these wires in this plug-in with these. I'm going to try to close that thing back down on them. Hopefully that'll work. I staggered them a little bit. And I'm pretty sure this side, because it had white tape on it, went to the driver's side. Let's see if we got the tape down here on the driver's side. I don't see any on the driver's side. Let's go see the passenger side. Nope, no tape on either side. Anyway, let's close this up, run the wires the way I want to run them, hook them up to my sensor area there, and keep putting this car back together. Siphoned as much of the brake fluid out of the reservoir that I can. I'm going to go ahead and cut the hydraulic line and connect that, put in fresh fluid, bleed the clutch, then bleed the rest of the brake system. All fresh fluid. Got my bleeder there, instruction link in the description area. Got this nasty fluid out of the clutch system until it started coming clear. Now I'm gonna start from this brake caliper back here and work my way around. Got the brakes bled. That bleeder screw did not want to come out, very stiff. Had a hard time getting it to stop leaking. Finally stopped. This bleeder screw didn't work at all. Had to take it all the way out to bleed that caliper. Hopefully it's not leaking. I had to check that and get that replaced. Doing the firewall junction for the heater core, and the new one has an aluminum piece down here instead of plastic. How about that? So I'm gonna put that in, put in these coolant hoses, and got 2 new Volvo hoses over there, and I should be ready to lift the subframe in, because we got a new radiator as well. Just serviced the transmission. Man, about 8 ounces came out. That stuff was nasty. And I filled it up till it started coming out of the axle. Just barely started coming out of the axle hole. Dripping down there. Hopefully that stopped dripping. I don't want to be cleaning up too much mess. I'm going to go ahead and hook up this subframe now, because that's the next thing I'm going to do. And I'm going to tear this fender lining out and replace it. I got all the coolant stuff hooked up. Oh, nope. I don't have the hoses connected up here. Subframe wouldn't matter on that, so I'm going to go ahead. I did put bearings in these shifter linkages. They don't have to worry about those wearing out. And I hadn't put the starter back in yet. And I'm going to do the fan mod, I guess. I usually do, so let's keep trucking. Subframe next while I still got energy. Didn't notice this when I dropped this down, but that subframe bushing is probably destroyed. Getting ready to replace these bushings on this anti-sway bar. These anti-sway bar bushings were so loose they were riding on the anti-sway bar, but it's hard to get these off of here. That little tip gets pressed into there when they're installed. And see, that side ain't even come loose, and we've been beating on this thing. So I took the pry bar, I placed it on here like this, and I beat it with a hammer until it started going in there. Then I pried it open. Finally came open on one side. Then I just beat it with the hammer till it got open. And if you got any rubber still sweat on that, just grind it off somehow. And these are the new ones from Swedish Car Parts that I'm about to put on there. You do want to grease inside there where that rides on the bar, so you don't have issues with it wearing out fast and making noise. This bar might slide in the bushings because it doesn't have a stop. These are normally glued to the bar at a certain load, kind of like your control arms are. It has a little dent in here, so that may stop them from walking back and forth. I also notice it's got a red swatch on it. This is a T5 bar, and maybe a date stamp on there. 6/15/94, and some kind of 16 date there. I put these bushings over the bar, and they are loose. I imagine these may be the ones for R's. So if you get an R bar, this is a T5 red bar, so probably should have got the next one smaller. So I'm gonna ask Alex and see what we can do about this. I put some tape around the bar to take up that gap, both sides. Then I ran some tape, 3M tape, around the bar several times to stop this thing from walking. Put a couple zip ties on it, both sides. So this shouldn't walk. I'll check it in a couple of weeks, then again in a few months, then again in a year. See how it worked out for me. I got a lot of tape next to the bar there. As soon as I started shaking the bar, it started walking. And it wasn't centered, so I had to center it. I put a clamp there, like that, to stop that side from walking. So you can use a clamp or wrap it up or whatever. So this bar should not walk. Let's go ahead and get this thing installed. Man, I don't know what day this is. It's probably like day 8, but let's get cracking. We're gonna start off by hooking up something down here. I can't remember what it is. Torquing this wheel on. Steering rack. We're gonna hook up the steering rack. I'm gonna try to jack this car up a little bit more so I can get under it a little better. Hook up the steering rack, then hook up the rest of the coolant system, then start putting the rest of the exterior together so we can start it, turn it around, and work on that roof liner. Back from our
Your destination is on the left.
Back from our break, we got the electrical connectors that we needed. Got that fixed. I'm gonna go ahead and finish securing this fan shroud and everything here and go from there. Folks, we are on the ground getting ready to torque the lug nuts and the CV axle bolts. Then we're gonna put the hood on. Get somebody inside to help me with that. Put these seals on and we're trucking along. Everything's looking good. This car is ready to be started, but I do need to put the center console in. Time to tidy up the inside. I put the seat in. Great, put the center console in. That's the piece we epoxied there. Didn't come out too bad. I put this 3D printed boot clip in there. Now I'm gonna let this thing down over there and secure it. It's got one of them weird 94 armrests. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do. There it is, folks. Interior's in. Meat is cleaning up the coin holder. I did not like this centerpiece. I couldn't get it snapped in. I had to trim about 1/4 of an inch off the back of the inside. The hole is too small. And I don't like this showing here. The way the car was designed and made, it don't have that showing. Anyway, we're gonna go with that. I'm ready to start the car up, make sure it starts. Then I'm gonna roll it through the gears, make sure it goes through the gears. It goes through the gears fine right now with the car off. I'm gonna roll it through the gears. Then I'm gonna take it for a little test drive around the block and bring it back and turn it around so that we can do this roof liner. That thing is nasty.
What thing?
The roof liner. I assume this car is gonna start. Let me move the seat up a little bit, the way I like it. Recliner doesn't work. Oh my gosh. Let's see if it starts after the manual swap. Fire's right up. We should get a check engine light for having no transmission. So let's take it around the block. See what happens. Something's loose down there. Banging. Shouldn't be, because all these mounts should be new. Going in the first. Release the parking brake. And we're rolling. This is a good thing. We are rolling, folks. See if we get second. Yes, we got second. See if we get third. Man, this clutch is light. Oh yeah. We got 3 gears. We're doing good. I'm gonna try to get 4 when I come down the other road. Oh yeah. Car drove great. I pushed it a little bit going up the 4 gears. Actually, I pushed it in first and second. I couldn't push it in third or fourth, but I didn't indicate no slippage at all in this clutch system. So the clutch seems to be holding tight. I'm gonna go ahead and put in the stuff down there. I have no leaks, and rip this headliner out. The roof liner is out, and look at there. Did not break this trim piece in one spot. But I will say 80% of it was already loose. So I only had to take it loose there, take it loose there, and the rest of it was already loose. We got the foam off of it. Somebody was doing some gluing. So there's some spots where there's some glue on there. But for the most part, I think it's clear. We're going to go ahead and spray it as long as the temperature is over 65 degrees. Kicking off the Tinker Day, think we got a fuel pump issue with this V70R. Got a Bosch pump we're gonna put in there. And I've never taken one of these all-wheel drive fuel pump units apart, so we'll see what happens. You say this all-wheel drive is still working, huh?
Yeah, I got to put a new drive shaft in it.
Oh, you have to?
I did.
Okay, I was about to say that looks pretty fresh. That's the piece I sent you, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, let's get this thing down, see if we can get that pump out of there. Tested the new pump with the car wiring. It fired right up, so we should be good to go. Wash this down. Last time he had a problem with this fuel line, so he bypassed it, put a different line on there. So we're going to crack this loose, see how much gas comes out, drain it into a pan, and there's a hole in the floor. We're going to go from there. He put a pump in here that was noisy as crap. So we're going to try to replace that pump in the sending unit. We are here with a P80 all-wheel drive fuel sending unit. When we took the fuel sending unit out, because we're going to try to replace the pump that's in here, I noticed that this ground wire lead is a little loose. Moves very easy, so does a positive one. If you don't have solid connections for electrical pumps, it could burn a pump out. So you want to make sure those connections are as tight as possible. Now, not too many people that I know of have getting inside one of these sending units and successfully replaced the pump, because this thing is like a Chinese jigsaw puzzle. We're going to try to do that, try to take this sock off the end of it first. I think that may hold it together some kind of way, and then open up the clamshell on it. I was looking for a seam here. I don't see a seam here. Heck, I don't see a seam anywhere. But there should be a seam somewhere, or I'm going to have to take it loose from the top and slide it apart. Man, there should be a seam there, but I don't see one. Maybe it doesn't have a seam. Let me work on getting this bottom piece off. It looks like it just has some pry clips on it. Slide that off, and then see what I could do from the top to get this tube to give me access to the pump. I gently pried on these two tabs and pulled that sock off of there, and it does have a gasket in that sock, but that doesn't give me a lot of access to the pump. So let me keep looking to see how to get this thing apart. Guess I'm gonna come up top and knock that loose there. Got another one here. Looks like I got 3 of them around here. I'm gonna try to slide this out of here, see if it lets this go. I'm not sure if this will slide in there. Let's just see what happens. With 2 people, we was able to pry those loose, and we got it lifted off. And the pump was maybe in that metal piece there, and it's down there, or it was in this tube here. The tip of it's down there. So I'm gonna slowly pull this apart, unplug it, and see where I go from there. I unplugged the plug and undid an additional ground from that piece right there. Now we try to figure out how to get this out of here. Man, it looked like it's got a sock in there, and of course it had a sock out here. So let's see how we get this pump out of here. Well, I turned that unit upside down and gave it a little shake, and it just slid right out. So this is what the pump looks like. That sock was on it, probably that way. It looks like there's a key on it, which I assume would be up on that part of it.
Going around this.
And okay,
Yeah, I'll go like that.
it's keyed like that. And this little gasket came off of this top piece here. So let's look at the new pump, see if this is some kind of match. I don't know what that hole on the side is for, but we're about to find out. This little piece here was just slid over there, touching this part of the pump. I'm not sure if that matters. Now here's the pump we got for replacement. It does not have this little piece that comes off the side there. I'm not sure if that matters, but we're gonna try to get this on there. The whole pump looks different. On here, the pump is centered. This hole is centered in it, and on here it's not. From what I see now, there's no need to remove this, so just leave this on like it was. The pump will slide out of there. So our new pump has to slide in that hole there because that's where that slid in. And let's pull this sock off and put that sock on. So I believe the pump was down in the housing like this, and this was off to the side. Not sure which direction or whatever, but that came out like that. It came out of here, and that's offset, so I think we'll be fine in sliding the new pump in there. But to get this sock on here, that tip is a little bit different, and we need to get this thing on here. That sock is not gonna go on there any kind of way that I could tell. And I'm not even sure why this had a sock on it when that has a sock. But it's a double sock situation. And that tip fell down into that thing.
This is flexible if you want to just
turn it the different direction and put it on there.
Well,
I don't know. It's got to stick down in here. And I don't know if with that sock on, it can stick down in there. The only thing holding this pump in the top of the sending unit is that green gasket there. And it feels pretty tight. It holds it up there pretty good. So I pull that down and the gasket falls off. And that's just holding that pump up there. And it has a shoulder to stop it from coming down too far. So in there, it's about halfway up. We came to the conclusion that this pump that we have, that we were going to use, is a front wheel drive style pump. And this all wheel drive style pump is just too different to put in this sending unit. So we just abandoned it. We're going to order a all-wheel drive pump assembly to fix this vehicle and go for there. So I'm headed back to the manual swap. Back at it, about 15-20 minutes. We got half of the headliner material on, getting ready to roll this side over. This stuff could be scraped off with our fingers, but we didn't want to add another 2 hours to the job trying to scrape all that extra glue or sealant or whatever that is off of this headliner. So just give it a minute or two to settle down and get tacky, and now we're ready to roll it over. It should be barely tacky to your finger. Yeah, it's tacky, but it's not sticking to my finger, so it's not wet. I'm gonna go ahead and roll this on the rest of the way and then trim it out and get it back in the car. And there it is, folks. Man, that headliner looks good. Only a couple flaws which may clean themselves out. One, somebody was gluing things to the old liner trying to get it to stay up, so you can see some of that other glue impressions. It's really hard to get that stuff off. And two, we got a little bit of a stretch mark wrinkle right there, but I actually think that'll play out. Other than that, man, I couldn't have better help, huh, honey? All right, we are ready to put this back in the car. Without any further ado, let's open up this trunk and slide it back in there. Open the trunk and realize the trunk drains are totally clogged. Ay, ay, ay. Gotta keep these things cleaned out. Other than that, water can build up on your seal and get in your trunk. Then you have a wet trunk. We are cooking with grease. We got these wires spliced back in for the sun visor lights. We got the dome light in. We got the sun visor molding in without breaking it. That's a first, I think, for me. Those things are just so delicate. Now we're going to pull the dash pad so that we can do the odometer gear and the correction on that. And magnets missing from the speakers, which is very common. They fall off, fall down in the dash somewhere. You find them sometime later, but you can't get that cluster out without taking this stuff out. So we're going to take this out and replace that thing. And the glove box door is missing one of the support arms. I'll look, see if I find that back there. It didn't fall out when I had the lower dash panel out, but we'll see if we can find it. And these things here are designed to hold the floor mats in place. You screw these into the carpet, and they got 2 of them in here. Anyway, let me get this glove box out. I have everything loose to take this dash pad off, and this piece going across the dash is in really good shape. I only see one crack there. Let's see how it looks when I put it back in. Oh, I didn't notice the dash had a split in it there. And it is buckled here too, it's lifting up. But at any rate, you don't try to sneak that cluster out of here, you'll destroy it. So we're trying not to destroy the dash pad. And it was hard breaking that loose over here, but when I did, that thing popped up almost straight up. I'm surprised it didn't shatter that whole piece, but looks like we're good to go. It came forward enough. So let me go ahead and take this cluster out to fix this odometer gear. All right, I got the odometer gear out. Odometer package rather than great. Check the gear. I'm amazed at how dirty my hands get with the simplest task. All I did was pull the dash out and my hands are filthy. Anyway, there's a video for this. I'm gonna take these 2 screws out, see what gears are busted, replace the gears. I suspect it's only going to be the small gear. Should probably replace both because of the age. And then I'm gonna correct the mileage on this package here. That thing's been seized on there so long it was hard to get off. And it was hard pulling it off of there. Kind of weird. So there it is. That gear looks okay. That don't mean it is okay. But I'm gonna go ahead and replace the small one. Got the interior totally back together. Look at that. Beautiful work of art. That 850 interior is nice. Now, I'm gonna mess with these wires out here to see if I reverse polarity the speed sensor wires and get them to work. Had a little bit of slack. I could pull them up here, so I did. Now I'm going to strip a little bit of the wire off, tie them together, tape them separate, take it for a little test drive. And if that works, I'm going to solder them together like that. I reversed the polarity on those wires, hooked up the battery. We're going to go for a little test drive and see if we got a speedometer. And the speedo works fine. However, the odometer is not working.
Yeah, it's not working. It was updated in terms of all the...
Yeah. Come in after a long day's work, and man, they didn't do nothing in this hotel room. Didn't take out the trash, didn't give us any fresh towels or washcloths, didn't clean it at all. It's a mess. Didn't throw the bed over. Just like we left it. It'd have been nice if they'd have tidied up a little bit, but they didn't. If you made it this far, I trust that you found some information that was either useful or entertaining, so go ahead and hit the like button. And if you would like notification of future videos that I post, please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your support. You can follow me on other social media apps by looking for @RobertDIY. Some form of that should bring up the other channels that I have on places like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and so forth. If for some reason you need some more personal help, go to my website at robertdiy.com and use the phone number that I have posted there to send me a text message, or you can email me. If you have questions or comments, please make a comment below. And if you'd like to make some kind of financial contribution to what I got going on here, go to my channel and hit the more link at the end of the introduction statement, and it'll show you different ways that you can support me financially. Again, thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day.